Go, Bob.
Hello, welcome to Return of the Thinking Man. I'm Bob Banfield, or my friends call me Cowboy Bob. I'm the host of the show, I guess. Um, with me here is the one and only dreams himself immortal, the Odin,
I
Daryl
am
Mealy,
here.
who is running the buttons and throwing the switches and so forth. And from time to time, he has comments he has to make. And also joining us is individual known as Valkyrie. And we are going to be talking about, what are we talking about? I got confused on the subject matter.
From what I understand, I was supposed to discuss the scientific basis of transgender science
Okay,
and its actual biological uh, evidence and whatnot. So,
sounds like a plan. In the meantime, we're here. It is April 23rd. It's 4 o'clock p.m. my time, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you're one of those wimps that lives on the East Coast and has to, so afraid of the dark, you have to change the clocks all the time. Those of us who aren't afraid of the dark don't change our clocks, and so my time level is a bit different. Let's see. I'm in Arizona. Odin is
uh,
in Washington D.C. and Valkyrie, where are you?
Tennessee,
Tennessee. Okay,
yes.
very good. Okay, so we get different perspectives from across the U.S. That's nice. Um, there's been a lot of talk. Uh, had an interaction with a young man yesterday that took great offense to just my existence, I guess, the fact that I was breathing air. But I asked him a simple question, and that question set him off. And I think that's what led us to this is sort of a carryover of that programming as we kind of ran out of time on the clock. The conversation was about transgenders and the LGBTQ and all of this woke mentality thing that's going on in our society right now. And as I speak of this as a senior citizen, and I was talking at the time with someone who was, I was assumed, in his early 20s, if he actually made it that far. Um, but the question was posed, and I would address that same question. Understanding who they are and what they're all about may be important for some people to accept the reality of their existence. But first and foremost, I take offense to the idea that some people, one group or another, and it's not always this group, but there are other groups too, that seem to have this necessity to run out in the street, dress up funny, and scream and yell and say, "Look at me," because they feel like they can't get any attention. Or the attention that they do get is not a positive interaction. In other words, people tend to look at them and go, and walk the other way. Don't really want to be around them, don't want to deal with them. And they take great offense to this for some reason. They think that we should just bend over, bow down, and admit that, it's their right and privilege to be different. We should just accept it and get over it. I can accept it. I'm not getting over it. You chose to be what you are. You chose to stand out in the crowd, and therefore, whatever comes your way because you stand out in the crowd is of your own making. I contend you could have just kept your mouth shut. You did not have to go out and parade around. You did not have to go out carrying signs. You did not have to let everybody know that you were different. It's like you walk into a job and the first thing you say to the interviewer is, "Well, I'm a member of the LGBT community and you have to hire me because if you don't, I'll file a grievance and you'll be fined and I'll be eligible for a disability check because you wouldn't hire me because I was gay." That's really arrogant, especially for the people who aren't even qualified for the job they're applying for, but they just want that job because they want that paycheck. Most of them, from what I've seen, don't even want to work. So let's get down to the brass tacks. There has been a conversation about the difference between what is called transgender transvestite, transitional, and trans consciousness. Now, of those is obviously the normal individual, or what we would call normal, being the heterosexual breeding population, male and female, who are here to create babies. Um, they are in one category. Then you have this group of people who consider themselves to be utterly confused, which is why they have to have 35 names for what they are, because they can't isolate it down to just being, I'm here. Beyond that, we get into the the basic homosexual, which is a definition that you prefer to have your intimate relationships with someone of the same gender. Okay, so I get it. Some women just don't like men. Understandable. Some men have had really bad experiences with women. Understandable. Been there, done that. And I can get where their head's at. I cannot follow their logic, nor can I practice their way of life, but I understand where they're coming from that point of view. Now, transgender is a word that is being grossly misused these days.
Yes, it is.
In technical, trans being a derivative of the word transform, transcend, transport, trans, meaning to change from one to another. Gender being your gender classification, are you male or are you female? So if you want to trans your gender, then you have to quit being what you are and become what you wish to be. Now, in both cases, whether you're male or female, this would equate to having to have radical surgery done.
Yes.
Okay, so the female would have to have a radical surgery done in order to produce that individual in the future as a male. They never really would be a male, mind you, because most of the equipment doesn't work right. Okay, it's just the way it is. They cannot really reproduce or move the reproductive
With current
system.
available
They can
science.
remove, they can remove the appendage. Okay, that's what they can do. So for a man, that means basically full castration, meaning all elements are removed and the external becomes an internal to imitate a female biology. But
Basically,
there's
all
no
they get is a
uterus.
vagina.
Yeah, there's no uterus. There's, that this doesn't exist, right? There's only this technical sleeve, which is occupied for the purpose of intercourse. Now, that would be transgender. That would be to completely change everything about yourself.
That is
Some
a
would
full
argue,
transition.
yes, some would argue this point and say that unless you can change the DNA base that you were born with, you can't change your gender. You will always be either male or female because you either have the XX chromosome or the XY chromosome. You can't change that. It's embedded in the DNA. You were born this way. You can do it on the superficial exterior, and that's fine. That's your privilege. That leads us into transvestite. Transvestite, again, going from the term trans to the word vest or vestite or vestment, which is the derivative thereof. Okay, so vestment are what you wear. I wear a cowboy hat. I wear a belt, a vest. I wear, a pistol belt, etc. Those are my vestments. Anyone seeing me walk down the street can look at me and say, that's a man and he's a cowboy. I choose to dress this way. It's my lifestyle and I'm content with it. If I took all of this off and I put on a three-piece suit and tie, then I would kind of look like a long-haired businessman, and that would be a transvestment. Okay, I changed my appearance to pass as someone else. Now we can go back to movies and stories and plot lines and real life people who made their living doing what we call drag queen, meaning a man who is completely dressed up, made up, hair done, false eyelashes, stuffing a bra to make it look like he has breasts, all of this so that he can pass himself off as a female entertainer. Okay. There are some people who find that entertaining and they get a kick out of watching, a 6'4" man who weighs 200 pounds running around in skimpy little outfits dressed like a woman and parading around and talking like a woman. That is being a transvestite. That is changing your outer appearance. That is not changing your gender. You have not done anything radical to your body. You still carry the same organs that you were born with. You still carry the same DNA you were born with. Now, there are trans or transitionals. Now, transitionals are people who literally, for God knows why, choose to stop they take drugs, injections, to stop producing the natural hormones that make them who they are. And they replace them with external artificial hormones that they now are. So for a man, he takes an injection, which kind of shuts down his production of testosterone, which is what makes him masculine, right? And he starts taking estrogen to replace the testosterone. So he's taking estrogen to make him more female. Okay. And he has not completed this course, therefore he's a trans. But that does not make him a third gender. That simply makes him someone in transition. And then there is a fourth category. And as best I can define this, of being an old cowboy on the mountain here, best I can define this is called trans consciousness. This is where in my mind, I have decided that from this point forward, I am going to live a completely different life. I'm going to change my name from Bob to Betty. I'm not going to grow any face hair. I'm now going to start dressing and acting like a woman. I'm going to expect to walk into a woman's restroom at Walmart, not a man's. I'm going to, when the ship is, I made this comment last night. So when the ship is sinking and they say, women and children to the rescue boats, I'm going to go, but I'm a woman and I'm going to get rescued rather than stay on the boat with the other men and take my chances of drowning. Okay. So I'm going to become a woman in my mind. Now, it does not mean that I've done anything physical to myself. It means that mentally, I want to act like, think like, and be treated as a woman. Now, I find that very interesting, and I would take this conversation up with anybody who's in the process of this or believes this way, because I can't for the life of me understand why anybody who isn't a woman, born a woman, would want to become a woman. They have got the worst cut in this society of anyone. Okay. Blacks say they've been oppressed. Hispanics say they're disregarded, disrespected. Asians are picked upon, oppressed, and abused, taken advantage of. Women get all of that and then some. Considering that throughout the history of humanity, women have been considered chattel, owned by the man, had no voice, had no vote, had no rights, could not own property, etc., etc., etc. If you
Which
go
is why I
today,
say if you're not transgender, you're not going to understand.
If you're going to Iran today, or Iraq, or Saudi Arabia, or any of those parts of the world, okay, if you're a woman, you may be on a silver pedestal, but you're never allowed to come off the pedestal. You're not allowed to get educated. You don't have a voice. You don't have a voice, and you're not allowed to go to school. You don't get educated. Okay. As a matter of fact, a woman can be punished for being caught reading a book. Now, why would anybody who's not naturally there want to volunteer to go into that? There must be some masochism here. That's just my opinion. Why would you want? I don't want to live.
You're welcome to that opinion. Like
yeah, I wouldn't want to live a woman's life. I was offended.
Are not ever going to understand.
Yeah, I was offended.
Don't have the condition.
I was offended by the way that people treated my wife and my sister. Okay, they were held back, they were denied, they were, they were dismissed. People talked down to them like, dingy blonde, you couldn't possibly know. Go sit down, shut up, go make some cookies, leave the men alone, we're busy. Okay, I find this an intolerable behavior. I do not practice it myself, but I have watched it, growing up. And I never thought this was right. I just don't. And I can't, why somebody would want to go into that voluntarily, I don't understand. But
And
nonetheless,
that's one of the
so
problems that
the big point of conversation here is where we're supposed to be going is why do some people come to the decision that they don't fit in their body?
because
Point
it's a
blank.
genetic condition. The
I would then,
actual
okay, I would
the
then
actual
say,
genetic studies show that transgendered people do have genetic markers for their transgenderness. It's a significant difference on one of the chromosomes where the pattern of it is more feminine than male. There are also physical differences in the development of the brain, which seems to indicate that basically as the child is developing in the womb, and early development stages when the brain is being formed, it is being given the chemical signals to be female or male. And then later on, the development processes switch and the external development of the rest of the body is for the other gender. So you basically have an actual female or male brain stuck in an opposite gendered body. Even with autopsies, when they have done studies of male to female transgenders, they have discovered that the brain is more feminized than the average males.
right, what real evidence exists to secure that topic? Is there real clinical evidence that can be looked at, that can be seen, or is this just people making something up in a laboratory and saying, you're not smart enough to understand it, so just let me explain it like this?
This is actual genetic physical evidence acquired through statistical analysis of hundreds of thousands of human beings. They've done studies repeatedly going back as far as the 60s and 50s when genetic science was first getting started. You've also got the psychological studies that they have known since the 1960s, showing that there are instinctive behaviors that even children as young as 2 and 3 can exhibit that will indicate more of a masculine or feminine or mindset.
Yeah.
Yes. For example, one of them is childhood masturbatory behaviors. Generally speaking, males tend to physically play with their genitals, where girls have a tendency to scoot along the floor or whatnot, things, and these particular behaviors.
Ride on Uncle Bill's knee.
Yes,
oh, let me ride the horsey, Uncle Bill. Yeah,
these physical instinctive behaviors can appear in children as young as 2 and 3. The reason that most of this genetic and biological evidence isn't more widely known is because it leads to all sorts of difficulties with political ideologies on both the left and the right. The fact that it is a genetic problem, well, not a problem. It's just as genetically ingrained as whether you have blue eyes or green eyes or blonde hair or black hair or whatnot. You have a percentage of the population who is going to have these genetic quirks.
Okay.
But the left doesn't like this because they have spent so long basically portraying gender as a social construct as opposed to a biological reality.
Right.
The right doesn't like this because the biological reality goes against the ideological and religious view of there only being two sexes. The trouble is that in biology, you don't just have XX and XY. You have all
Excuse
sorts
me?
of mutations where you can have a XXY or a XYY or other variations of the chromosome. You have the development of people who have actual XX chromosomes, but developed from the womb as male. You've also had examples of XY that have developed as females. You have.
So your argument would be there's no such thing as male or female.
No, I'm saying that there are male and female, but there are also exceptions. Just because 99% of everybody gets male or female doesn't mean that every single person falls into one or the other category.
Okay, so let me
Biologically,
clarify.
there are exceptions.
Let me clarify.
DNA is not always copied exactly.
Okay, so let me clarify something here. So through the 1960s, through the 1970s, through the 1980s, women everywhere were screaming at the top of their lungs, parading down the streets, boycotting, cooking dinner for their husbands, etc., all on the basis that women are equal to men. Women are the same as men. Women should be able to do anything that a man can do, and basically women should get paid for doing the same job, the same amount of money. That part I agree with. Yes. However, what you are saying to me is that in clinical science, we have clear evidence that suggests there is a clear and visible difference between the female brain and the male brain, meaning they are not equal and the same. They are unique and different. Am I hearing this correctly?
Different, but they are equivalent.
Well, but see, we get into this thing of equity. Is it equity of cause or is it equity of outcome? I can have equity of opportunity. I cannot give you equity of outcome.
With you, Bob.
Huh?
I'm simply pointing out.
Right. So I'm just saying that I've been told, women are the same as men. We should be treated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they're not. They're not. No. I mean, beyond the physical, you have breasts and a vagina. Your brain is different.
Claimed that anyone.
I didn't say you did. I did not.
Equal.
I did not say that.
Everyone has variations.
I did not say that you said it. I said I've heard it. I know for 30 years. I heard it screamed from the balcony, yes, right? Okay, and yet medical science says there is a difference.
Ideology. The science says different.
So can you change? Can if I have a male brain or a female brain, can you externally? Can you or medicine change that? You can change my external vision, but can you fix my brain is still going to be what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't fix my brain.
You can alter it to an extent.
With drugs.
But not in a major way without doing damage. One of the facts that the biological evidence indicates is that just estrogen alone may cause a disruption of the hormones and a certain amount of feminization, but it doesn't actually directly affect things like your sexual preferences or whether you consider yourself a male or female. It might make you look more like a eunuch. You might end up being a high-pitched voice, and you might, look like, walking around like
Like
Michael
Daryl?
Jackson.
Like Daryl? You have a
What,
voice
you
like
just- you
Daryl?
just
That
want me
hi,
to-
oh,
you want
look
me
at
to talk,
I'm,
right?
I'm Odin. I'm immortal.
You just want me to talk today, don't you? See, you think
Yeah, I
I
was
ain't
trying to
here.
get you in
I'm
here.
hiding, but I am right here. And you know something?
know.
I'm just thinking. I'm gonna actually come down to a sweeter way of saying it. Yeah, there are differences between male and female. There's always going to be a difference. The physical makeup, psychological makeup. Men are more multi-variant according to their eyes. They use their visuals more than their senses. That's a true statement. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, we do see before we
Yes,
feel.
women are far more driven by their smell, smell, than they are by visual.
Yes, I mean
They will be shut off by something that smells bad, even if it doesn't. Their eyes may look at it and go, "That, I'll smell it. If it smells good, I'll keep it. If not, I'll throw it away."
Yeah.
Man will look at it with his eyes and go, "That doesn't look appealing,"
good.
and walk away.
Right.
Yeah.
Another good part of the difference would be who is more inclined to mathematics.
That I couldn't answer you. I haven't actually studied that particular subject.
I believe that has been left to instruction. Because it depends. Yes. Women are quite capable of doing the mathematics thing. As a matter of fact, they're capable of being far better than most boys of the same age. Okay. But only if they're given the instruction. Yeah, they have to be given the same instruction in order to make the same accomplishment. So if you want to be an engineer, okay, it's not that a female is not capable of learning and becoming an engineer, but if she's never given the prerequisites for engineering, she will never be a decent engineer, right?
She'll tell you flat out. She was in engineering courses and was doing quite well in them, but
see, up until the mid-1960s, women weren't even welcome in the field.
No, they weren't. There was not an open door for them. But let's continue. Let's continue real quick, because I gotta make sure everything is straight over on this side. But the idea that there is a difference between male and female, but this transgender ideology, it seems to be more of a, let me say it right, male's rights march. You remember we used to have the women's rights? Now it's becoming male's rights.
Political elements.
No. It's more
why the left does not support all of the genetic and biological evidence is because you've got a lot of people who
you got a lot of women in the left. Let's just be honest.
Well,
we got a majority female.
You
left.
had people who were in power before they came out, who then started feeling the sort of prejudice against females that they never encountered when they were males, before they came out as female. And in order to get that sense of power back, that's part of the whole agenda on the left behind the LGBTQ and everything. It's all about trying to reestablish the power that they had before they came out.
Correct. Very correct.
Well, pretty boys make acceptable girls. Average man makes an ugly girl.
Hold on, you talking about somebody like Paul Bunyan?
No matter how he tries,
or like Cowboy Bob?
Going to be an ugly woman.
Like Cowboy Bob?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Bruce
you
Jenner.
got pretty hair. You got pretty hair.
I used to. Bruce Jenner. Okay.
Oh my God, that's the
had the whole thing done. He's completely now a biological female, or so he claims. Okay, but I'm sorry, he is not a pretty woman. He is ugly.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to sit across from the dinner table with him because
that's why pre-puberty recognition of transgender is so important. Because by the time you've gone through puberty, it's almost impossible to make a successful transition.
Have they
You're
done
not
it?
going to be.
Have they
I
done
never
it
met a
before
5-year-old that could even tell what shoes they were wearing, let alone try to figure out what gender they were.
I was going to say that, but my problem is seriously. I mean, how do you straight up tell a person beforehand, say they're 8 years old, that you'll make a better female than a male, and you don't know what that person really wants?
That's why it's not why it should not be up to the parents.
Well, that's what
I knew
the left
well
wants.
I was transgendered by the time I was 8 years old. I knew for a fact that I was not a good boy, and that everything about me, I would have been much happier being a female. If I had had the medical backing in the 1970s, that
they didn't have that technology.
There is a possibility. I'm not saying there's a guarantee, but there's a possibility. I could have been much more successful on transitioning, into an acceptable and actual female-looking person.
Let me ask you a question.
Than I am now.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Okay. How much body mass do you have? Okay. Are you broad-shouldered? Are you skinny, slender, or?
I tell people flat out, I look like a mafia hitman.
Okay,
I'm
so
6'5". I'm built like a shit house.
How would you have a better life as a woman?
There's almost no way that with current scientific technology that I can successfully transition into looking like a woman. I would look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a dress. I know this. I admit this. I have no trouble with it. I'm not interested in current technology. That's one of the reasons why I've spent so much time researching medical technology, so that I can look and see how long it's going to be until there's a reasonable expectation of me being able to transition successfully, so that I look the way that I want to look and not look like a gorilla in a dress. I'm very well aware that I'll look like a gorilla in a dress right now. Okay. I'm very well aware that if I do become female, I'm going to.
Okay, so let's put the physical look aside. Let's pass on that. Explain to me, if you can, in as clear term. Don't say anything that puts you in a bad position. Just general conversation. What is it about your life as a male that you feel would be better if you were a female? In other words, what is it about a female's life that you think you would be better equipped at and enjoy much better than a man's life? Because what is it about a man's life that you dislike so much?
Being a man.
What about being a man?
I don't think that.
Does it bothers you that you have something hanging between your legs, or is it that you don't like the way you're treated as a man?
I don't
in society
care how I'm treated. The being treated one way or another has nothing to do with it. It's the fact that every night I dream, and I'm a female. When I wake up in the morning, I go and look in the mirror, and I want to scream at what I see. I don't think that anything in my life is going to be improved becoming female. I don't think that anything is going to get massively better because I'm female. I will just feel normal.
In what way? I see, that's the point. I don't understand.
Yes, that's what I keep saying.
In what way will you feel normal as a woman? Because you don't have a penis and testicles? Is that really what it all comes down to? Or you don't like being 6'5" and 200 pounds?
Maybe the question is not about physiology. I mean, haven't you noticed, Cowboy Bob, it's really not about physiology, it's about psyche?
Well,
it's about the way we... No, hold on, let me help you out a little bit, because I took note of this. I feel, I believe, it's a personal statements you're hearing. These are individualized. statements.
Okay.
Believe, I feel. So it's not about the physical, it's about how they feel.
Attempt to explain. If you don't have the syndrome of having the feeling that you're in the wrong body, you have no basis to compare any of your experiences to. So you can't understand how it feels. I have spent decades trying to explain this to people. I have spent untold numbers of hours having people tell me, oh, well, just get over it. Or, you were born this way, so this is the way you're supposed to be. Or, this is the way that God made you. Well, being transgender is a genetic quirk. It's like the fact that I have blue eyes and blonde hair. It's no different than the fact that I'm, a Caucasian male who looks like,
Tarzan,
a linebacker.
Yeah.
But the day-to-day experience in my brain and the contradiction of my mental persona and who and what I look like to the external society makes an enormous amount of difference to me, not to anybody else.
Okay, because I question, you say, I dream that I'm a woman, then I wake up, I look in the mirror, and I see a man, and it horrifies me. Now, that tells me that the real problem is that you don't like your physical image. You don't like the way you look. You're 6'5", you weigh a couple 100 pounds, you have face hair, you don't like, you think you are an ugly man, okay? And you're not happy with that. You think that if you looked like Bette Midler, okay, that you'd be happier. And maybe you would be. Okay, but the point is that is not, I see, the problem I have is, then if that's what you want, live it. But mutilating your body with not a real understanding of what the repercussions might be, okay, because it's a surgery and all that, but you have no idea what to back up, 10 years from now, this could create all kinds of other problems because of this surgery. Okay. Just saying. All right. And so you don't know really what you're getting into. You're opening up Pandora's box and you're not really quite sure what's at the bottom of the box. You'll have to wait to find out. You'll have to wait to find out. Okay. Just like taking a vaccine, it could take years before you find out that you have a problem with that vaccine. You took it, it's too late now, right?
I'm fully aware of all of this.
All right. So what you're telling me, what you're telling me is that you look in the mirror, and you don't like the image.
I don't like seeing someone who's not me. Yes. And if
but you are you.
If you've never experienced this kind of dysphoria, Bob, I've tried to explain.
Let me help Valkyrie out. Can I help you out, Valkyrie? Because I think Bob is not catching on. He's going to end up saying it, hopefully, if he catches on in the end. This whole diaspora that you're talking about, Bob, it revolves around two things. The impression the individual sees of themselves and the way an individual wants to feel. Regardless of whether you want to say it's a biological or it's a physical, 99% it's psychological. It's just like the man that can't look in the mirror. But on the other side, you remember what they always say about psychology. The psychology you study affects the way you, your body performs within itself. It's like an abused child, psychologically traumatized, got PTSD, and who abused him? It would be his mother. Okay, we're going to flip the script now. It's his mother abusing him. He doesn't feel worthy. He doesn't feel happy. He's ashamed. And every time he sees a female, what does he do? His head goes down.
Right. But this is an issue. This is an issue that can be dealt with without having to go through a massive physical reorientation of your anatomy. Okay.
For some people, yes.
Men have been castrating men for a very long time. Okay. We have evidence of this going back, way back in the history of humanity. Okay. This idea of removing the female genitalia, and if I understand it, literally inverting it. So taking it and pulling it out of the body and now making it an external organ instead of an internal organ, okay, is a major undertaking. And it's only been just in so many years that we've even had the scientific ability to even attempt something like that and keep the patient alive. Okay, but I mean, we didn't have gynecology until after World War II. You know, I mean, of all the terrible things, of all the terrible things that happened in World War II, Mengele gave us the science of gynecology. He did research and study on women that would not have been permissible in any laboratory at any university anywhere else in the world. It was only because of the conditions that existed that he could do the kind of things that he did, and a great deal of knowledge came out of that. Now, is that good knowledge or bad knowledge? That's a whole nother issue. Okay, but the point is, all of this is relatively recent. A woman did not have that option. Men have had their testicles removed and turned into eunuchs thousands of years back. Okay, that was how you took the greatest warrior from your enemy and you captured him and you castrated him and you made him serve you as a slave who no longer had an aggressive nature, because without his testicles, he's no longer producing that excess and I believe there's more than one testosterone. See, I think they categorize it all as one, and I think there's a variation. But let's say that super testosterone that makes me the aggressive male, that I'm going to get in a ring and I'm going to fight with you and I'm going to stand here and take punches and I'm going to beat you till you bleed. Okay, that disappears when you remove the testicles. Now, interestingly, and I have firsthand knowledge of this, when a woman under the age of 60 has a hysterectomy, a full radical hysterectomy, she is no longer producing that super enzyme estrogen any longer. And much of her feminine nature, her gentility, her gentle passion, her get along mentality, okay, just be quiet and get along with it, don't make waves, that disappears. Okay, they are no longer timids anymore. Know this for a fact. Okay, lived with it. Now, it wasn't a bad scenario, but it definitely was a difference in the personality before and after. And in my case, I had 30 years before. So I had known this woman personally and intimately for 30 years. She had this surgery, and afterwards, there was a lot about her that was different now. Still loved her. She's still a great woman, but she was different. She different approach to life in general. Her mind was working different because the estrogen wasn't there. And their answer to it was take these estrogen supplements. Except the estrogen supplements were from a pig. Because the one interesting thing they cannot produce is they cannot artificially produce testosterone or estrogen. The body manufactures it, but the laboratory can't. The laboratory can extract it from a pig or a dog or a cow or another creature or another human being. They can take it out of another human being, but that human being won't be alive anymore. Okay, so you can't just take it out. It's like you can't take out all the blood. You got to put more blood back in, or the person's not going to continue to function. So you can't function without these enzymes. Your body would shut down. So they have to use these artificial animal hormones in order to treat basic menopause, which is a natural shutdown of the estrogen production in a woman. Now, I believe that men go through a very similar period in their life, sometime usually between 60 and 80, probably more like 45 and 65, but most guys would deny that completely. Okay, we start producing less testosterone. We start losing muscle mass. We start, I am 5'9" and 1/4 inches tall. I used to be 5'11" and a half. I weigh 143 pounds. I used to hit the scale somewhere just shy of 160. But because of my health issues and because of my body natural aging, okay, I am now shorter than I used to be. I'm lighter than I used to be. And I don't have the muscle mass or the strength that I had when I was 40 years old. I'm 68. So, 28 years later, I don't have it. I can't lift up the same barbell. I can't do the same things I used to do without thought. I used to just do it. Didn't think about it. Now I have to think about what I'm doing or I'll hurt myself. Okay. These are the natural elements. Now I can take supplements. There's plenty of them advertised on television that'll give you back that vitality of life. Well, first of all, I don't need Viagra. I'm quite capable of functioning in that manner. It's the rest of the body that's gone to crap. Okay. And you can give me a bunch of stuff that's going to make me mentally think that I'm better. Okay. But it's just an illusion. I can take a drug and make myself believe that I'm a butterfly too. But, I'm not a butterfly. It's not going to happen. And I think that the real argument that keeps coming to boast and where my partner in crime over here keeps pulling the statement, and it's hard to argue with him on it because he takes it to the fundamental root. You were born with a certain DNA.
And that
and
DNA,
unless you can change that DNA, unless you can change that DNA, you can never truly become that other package. You can't. You can do all the external changes, but you'll still be fundamentally what you were born to be. Your brain will still be what it was.
That's why I'm looking forward to technology that can actually change the DNA.
Now that right there is a true. Now that statement right there would make a true transgender, because the DNA is the core of the existence, along with the chromosomes.
A fake approximation, of being a female.
But if you dressed up in a dress right now,
you would be
on a wig, or grew your hair out, had all the face hair removed, took away all the external signs, visual signs that you were male. Okay, you would not be treated well in society simply because you would look like a prison mate.
But no, the statement is
people would be going, "Oh man, that's the lady that works in the cafeteria." Okay.
Okay. I remember the one back in the day with the big mold.
You would still be living in a world where you wouldn't be treated the way you want to be treated.
But Bob, you talking about the one with the big mold, with the hair that comes out?
Well, I'm just saying, he'd be
the prison guard.
6'5" woman here with a man's physique, right?
I am not interested in current technological limitations.
Talking about the future technology.
Why I became a transhumanist to begin with, to look into the development of the technology to the point where I can fully change.
I'm sorry, we were raised to deal with
to a female.
We were raised to just deal with it. Okay. When I was a kid, a young person, 12, I went in the army. I had to have now listen, hear me out. I had to have a waiver signed by the governor of the state of Arizona to allow me into the Army because I was underweight and undersized. I was 5'4" tall and I weighed 99 pounds. Now, all my life, and that was at 16, 17 years old. All my life, I was the smallest kid. Mm-hmm. I was never, the other guys were all playing baseball and football and they were doing, and I tried and all I got was hurt, bruised and banged up. I didn't like it. They made fun of me because I was too small. And I was always told that you deal with it. Okay? This is who you are. Don't let other people put you down. Find a way to be happy in this world and deal with the hand you've been dealt. Basically was the way it was put.
Yes, that's your
deal with the hand that was dealt.
You're welcome to believe that. That doesn't mean that I have to agree with it.
Okay, but I have one.
I was also the smallest.
When did it become a social pastime to say, screw that, I'm going to make the world fit the way I want it to fit and screw everybody else? What they think doesn't matter. It's about me. I want the world to change to accommodate me because I don't feel comfortable as who I am.
That's what they want. Haven't you figured it out? I mean,
I have figured it out. Okay. That's why I'm asking the question.
But here's a statement for you. Miss, let me say her name. Lori in the chat host had a nerve not to call in. I mean, could have just jumped in, but we ain't gonna go there for no reason.
Be nice.
Okay, because I'm
play nice with each other.
I've been playing nice late at night, 3 o'clock in the morning. Scrub brush and a corner cob holder. Back to the point. Christine George was the first American transgender woman. He started out life as a male, but decided he would be happier as a woman. He received his sexual reassignment surgery in Denmark and was a successful actress later in life. You know why he was a successful actress?
Because he was the first transgender and everybody wanted to see the oddity.
Everybody wanted to tap that shit. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. Same thing with Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner repositioned himself. I don't care what he says he did or why he says he did it. At the end of the day, what it did was it made him a freak show attraction.
Because he could not be a champion
wanted
no
him
more.
Because everybody wanted to see the transgender dude.
But no, it's more than that. Because he couldn't compete anymore.
Well,
I'm sorry. Yes. That's the key thing to Bruce Jenner. He couldn't compete anymore. He couldn't do the Iron Man. He couldn't do the races anymore. I mean, the young bucks were smacking his ass and turning him blue.
So if he couldn't be the fastest man in the world, he wasn't going to be a man at all anymore.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, I don't understand. There's a lot about transgender. That's why I'm listening. I say for beginners, it is a way of life for individuals. Okay, deal. I can deal with that. But now, why?
Your truth is your truth.
Your truth. But see, that goes right back to this whole ideology that I am a goddess from the prison planet Ugon.
A lot of people out there who are claiming to be transgender.
And they're not.
Who have motives like Bruce Jenner or who are doing it because they want to be popular. Or you've got a lot of people.
Can I go to prison?
Ice, I think the reality of it is that many of them actually think they want to be.
Yes.
They think they want to be. It's not, you tell me, and we had this conversation in private on the side, so at another time and place. Mm-hmm. But you tell me that this is something that is happening inside your mind, that has been happening with you since childhood. Yes. You didn't ask for it. You weren't looking to find a comfortable slot to fit into. This was just something that you've been dealing with all your lifetime. Now, I believe that there are a lot of little sheep out there, black sheep. Okay.
We're doing it because it's the latest fad.
People have said to them, hey, blah, 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 really blah, 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 and they're going, maybe you're right. I've been trying to get dates with girls. They just turn around and walk away. Nobody wants me. Of course, I'm standing there picking my nose while I'm doing it, and I don't understand why they're offended by that. Okay, so these guys think that the answer to their unhappiness is a change.
Okay, but they don't know the results of that
because
change.
They'll be accepted in a group.
They don't know the
results. I don't think if it
Yeah.
really comes down to it, that they really want to physically change themselves.
Are they going to cut off
Those are
Magic
femboys.
Johnson?
They just want to go along with the
Those are
popular
boys who
trend,
act
right?
like girls,
Yeah.
Okay.
but want to stay boys.
But hold on. Are they willing to cut off the Magic Johnson?
No, they're not. They call it girl peen.
Yeah. See, I learned I couldn't compete with the other boys. I couldn't climb the rope. I couldn't throw the football. I couldn't hit the baseball. I couldn't do. I wasn't there. So I competed with my mind.
Popular fact.
Right? I competed with my brain. I got smart and I learned about things that made me successful in my lifetime. My body did not make me successful in my lifetime. My brain did. Okay. Now, for a whole lot of people out there, I suppose if you can't get past the body and going, well, I can't compete because I'm not, hey, look, Ice is 6'5". I'm 5'9". I can't compete with him. It's not fair. I'm going to go be a woman because I won't be expected to compete with him if I'm a woman. Okay. Now, that may be the grounds for the psychological baseline. Yeah, that may be the baseline, okay, for some of them to make this decision that they look at themselves, they compare themselves with their peers, go, I don't fit, and therefore turn around and go, but this group over here, they aren't asked to do this. They aren't expected to come out here and do this and do that. They aren't expected to carry these big, heavy things that are too heavy to carry. They're not expected to, stand there, when somebody hurt me, I'm just supposed to stand here and go, ooh, that was real tough. No, you hurt me. I'm hurt and I'm going to act hurt. And so, that makes me girlish. Okay. So maybe I should go be a girl. Okay.
Yes, there are quite a lot of people
if science had not come up with this, okay, if the doctors in Norway hadn't figured this out and weren't looking for a guinea pig to try it on, we wouldn't be having this conversation because there would be no option for you if science hadn't first of all created the ability and said, hey, look, we can do this.
Many transgenders kill themselves.
Okay, how many, and Odin, back me up here. Okay.
Hold on. Are you gonna bend over when I back you up, or what?
And African females do you see walking around with stone cold blonde hair? Now I'm telling you, that is Revlon in a bottle.
Blonde hair.
Blondes. They were not born blondes, but they make themselves look blonde.
They do it because
they walk around going, I'm a beautiful blonde.
It's theater. It's media. That's why they want to be seen. But guess what?
Yes, and that's what makes life so much harder for actual transgenders like me.
The real transgenders was the fake transgenders. We should classify them. Hey, I got an idea.
We're doing it because it's the popular thing, or because, Hollywood has told them, that this will make them more popular, or this will get them more people to date, or this will get them more sex, or whatever.
Well, I'm going to say it honestly.
It's
You're
like,
right.
I deal with this in Second Life all the time with femboys. You get all these guys who are so happy about being guys, but they'll dress like girls because they're gay and they want to have sex with lots of guys, but they definitely don't ever.
Well, the worst part of that is that a guy who isn't gay finds out that the chick he's having drinks with at the bar has a package between his legs.
Hold on, you're supposed to say a full. You're supposed to say a full package.
I want nothing to do with this dude.
You're supposed to say
a full.
I'm
mad that he dressed up like a woman and tried to pass himself off in a hetero bar. Okay, and trying to convert me to homosexuality.
But then you got the song "Dude Looks Like a Lady."
Another problem. They cause problems for people like me.
The real people that don't want to be like the other fakers.
Have a real case of being transgender.
Okay, I got a question.
They're doing it because, they think it's something that will, make them popular and get them, all the sex they want.
Okay, I got a question, Valkyrie. I mean, I'm straight up and I'm going to ask you. When somebody says I'm non-binary, that means you can flip-flop, right?
It also could mean that they don't actually have any real libido.
Like I said, they can flip-flop. Basically, they can flip-flop.
Well, no,
hold on, Bob. Hold on, Bob. I'm getting a point blank taken care of real quick. So a non-binary is literally a bisexual.
That's one side of the coin.
Because I'm going to narrow the word down in a minute. I'm going to narrow the word down.
There's the type that doesn't care to have sex at all.
Okay, so that's a bisexual. Because sometimes you ain't going to get laid. Right? I mean, I can go around. Look,
bisexual wants to get laid all the time.
In 5 minutes, I'm going to get me some good-ass pussy. 5 minutes.
If I can't find a girl to sleep with me, I'll go find a guy.
No, I ain't gonna find a guy. What I'm gonna do is
that's a bisexual, right? Okay. If I can't find one gender to have sex with me today, I'll go find another. Unless
your name is Pan.
I don't care what I'm having sex with as long as I'm having sex.
Unless my name is Pan.
That's a bi.
Unless my name is Pan, got to do the flute. I mean, you're using the word binary, and that's the key word that I want to hit on.
Mm-hmm.
But binary means neutral.
Oh, hold on. So how can you be?
In every other dictionary, it's neutral.
Okay, so how can you be, you get my word, non-binary, which means 2 negatives means a positive, am I correct? No, not today.
It's a political fucking term.
Okay, so the bottom line is, why the hell are they throwing these goddamn quadruple terms at us, and no one's going to ever, yes, I already gave it a goddamn definition. Put your mouth in the show.
Young man, excuse me, while you're having your little juvenile rant there, young man.
Oh, okay.
Your generation didn't make up words or take words and use them out of context.
No, what they did was they stole them out of your dictionary.
To get by.
They stole them out your dictionary.
What is hooch?
Oh, hooch? That's that good wine, man. That's that wine shit. What are you talking about? You take those...
No. This is hooch, man.
Oh, you talking about the lighter?
Okay, we called it hooch.
Oh, the old weed was hooch. Then it became the wine, and then it became something else. I forgot what they got it.
Hoochie coochie became foreplay.
Right.
Sexual
no.
Foreplay
it was called
coochie, right?
Yeah, foreplay. That's I'm gonna be nice with that word.
So there is 3 different uses of the same word, cooch. Okay. Generations take words
just like fag,
and they make them fit in a new definition in order to confuse their parents. So parents don't know what you're talking about because you're talking about shortcake, and what you're really referring to.
It's talking about little shorty around the corner.
Is shortcake is a piece of tail around the corner. Right, okay? I'm going to go get me a little shortcake.
I'm going to give me some shortcake.
I like cherry pie with a hair in it.
How about this? I like this one. A man goes, yo, I'm going to give him my little taste of vanilla ice cream.
All right.
So you already know. You like that? You like a little chocolate?
Why has this generation taken words and adapted them? I would give you, what is a bit? It goes in a horse's mouth.
Right.
What is a bite? What you get when you try to put a bit in a horse's mouth. It bites you.
Right.
No, these are computer terms now.
Yeah.
A bit and a byte refer to memory and data, and when
bullshit.
did they decide they could just change the meaning of a word?
Bob, it's bullshit. They're making words up. They're taking existing words and switching the definitions. You wonder why we got Mandela effect? We got Mandela effect because people are not creative enough to create new worlds.
Explain that to me. I've heard that term, and I don't know what it means. What is the Mandela effect?
Listen to let Valkyrie do it.
The Mandela effect is the appearance of a change in history. The original terminology is derived from the fact that there are a lot of people, myself included, who vividly remember hearing about Nelson Mandela
dying in jail,
dying in prison in South Africa.
Yes.
Only to later on be alive and become president and whatnot. So you have a disconnect where the memory says he died in prison, but historical fact is he was not killed in prison, but went on to become president of South Africa.
Right, and they became president of South Africa.
You remember things occurring one way, but the established history that you can find now.
Okay, so let me throw.
So hold on,
let me throw out an example and tell me if this passes the acid test.
Okay, hold on, let me take a hit.
So the young man who said he was gay claims he was attacked in an alley after a nightclub event.
Oh shit!
And beaten because he was gay by a couple of thugs. Okay, when we found out later that in fact
they all
knew these thugs, he paid them to beat him up, and he never really was gay. He was more bi. Okay, he was just kind of like a Hollywood type. He'd have sex with anybody.
And he owed drug money.
Okay, now is that Mandela effect?
No.
No, that right there is called setup. He was trying to make himself popular.
Obvious.
Okay.
He was trying to make himself popular.
Let me give you an example that I recall myself. I went to go see the movie Star Wars.
Oh yes. Oh,
more
that's
than
a good
25 times in the theater.
It went back in '76.
Oh, you do need help.
Hey, you know something, Bob? Shut up. I'm a Star Wars fan.
I went to go see it more
The Force
than
is with me.
25 times in theaters. C-3PO was solid gold.
Gold.
He was always.
Now he's silver.
All of his toys were solid gold.
Right.
Yes.
You go and watch Star Wars nowadays, he has a silver leg.
How did he get silver? Hold on. You remember the trash compactor?
Empire Strikes Back, when he was destroyed and had to be reassembled.
Right.
Chewbacca built him back with a silver leg. He did not have silver leg in A New Hope.
No, he did not.
He does now.
But hold on, to make it even worse, during the time of the original Star Wars, he never had a silver leg. That's number one. Number two, his legs when they were in the trash compactor, if you remember, his body and arms were diffused because R2 had to release them.
Sticking up out of the, right.
Right, they were gold. Right. So did they pull an R2 unit leg out? No one knows, but guess what? Another leg, you know what I mean? But the bottom line is, it was gold the whole time. But now you see the transition, the change in the film. Now that could be the filmmaker's way of throwing you off. I mean, just like
comment. How do I know you watched the movie? You'll comment. You'll make a remark about it.
I mean, that could be the filmmaker's way. I mean, Spielberg does change little things.
Every copy I have found of Star Wars lately,
except the new one, old ones,
has a silver leg.
Right, except the old ones.
I used to own the gold box set of Star Wars, and 3PO had a gold leg. But if you look at that now, it's got a silver leg.
How did he get silver? It doesn't say it.
How did the leg get changed in a box set that I can clearly remember it was gold,
right?
But now it's silver.
Hell, we went to the movie theater. We saw it.
The Mandela effect is that
I remember the toys in the store.
It was gold.
The first movie came out. I was already an adult, not a.
Yeah, you were an old ass head.
I was an upper teenager when the first movie came out.
What was it, 76,
and,
78?
Actually, I think I was in the service when the first movie came out. And because we didn't see it till years later when my son was 5. We went and saw the movie the first time that I ever saw the Star Wars movies. And then the later movies that came out, the other two that came out behind it over those years. But yeah, I remember the toys, you're absolutely right. I mean, even the Hasbro toys in the box at the department store. Okay.
77.
It was a gold figure. And the other one was a little round bubble looking dude with blue stripes and a red bar. Exactly. So he had blue going over him, but he had a red stripe going around him. One red bar that went around him at what would be the separation between the head and the body. Right. Yeah.
Okay, but my other part for that would be Darth Vader. I mean, you had the
well,
voice.
There's the ultimate Borg, right? I mean, there is
really
there is the full blown of a human man being literally built back up
Into
with
cybotics.
artificial parts, right?
Right. So that's transhumanism.
You know, you weren't born when the $6 million man was.
Hey! I was watching $6 million man and buying that woman at the same time that my man Valkyrie, my girl Valkyrie over there was. We were watching that shit, weren't we, Valkyrie? You got to do the running and you got to make the sound effects. You got to use the bionic eye, and she got to use her ear.
Since way before then.
Yeah.
But see, isn't that the idea? We can make it better.
As well.
Now, wasn't Jack Jackwa in Godzilla cyborg man, or was it just pure robot?
In what?
I don't know that much.
Godzilla. Remember when Godzilla was fighting Jack Jackwa the robot? Jack Jackwa would do some of this shit like, let me get my arms right. Do some of this shit like.
Well, he was an articulated robot. He was a completely artificial being.
Okay, I was checking. No, I'm sorry, I just got excited.
That was a manufactured.
I didn't want nobody to see that shit.
That was a manufactured combat.
It was
a combat robot. It was built specifically to fight Godzilla.
But it lost. But it turned to Godzilla and said,
"Because technology
we got a guest coming in. Somebody's using balls."
Technology on its baseline sucks because if the battery dies, you got nothing.
Now I'm happy. Now I see that my host got Rodans.
Hi, Lori. He was bad-mouthing you. I want to be the first to tell you.
Shit. I've been in that
jump
movie.
on to let him know, keep my name out
of your fucking mouth. Yeah.
Oh, shit. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Keep my name out your
Send him a slap.
mouth.
Hello, Lori.
I had to been.
I don't like none of y'all.
Hey, Odin, did you see the meme I sent you with the Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Yes.
Sign that says, you know, our chicken hits harder. Our spicy chicken has a harder hit than Will Smith. And it was on a billboard in front of KFC, right on the sign, you know, where they have the specials of the day. And somebody took a picture of it. It was actually on the sign.
Oh my God.
You know, our spicy chicken, you know, has more punch than Will Smith.
Man, I think everybody got more punch than Will Smith. He's a punk bitch.
Yeah, well, that's why Jenna or whatever her name is married him, right? Because he was a
Master Hood.
Because she knew she could be in charge.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, Laura, you can sit down now and be quiet for a second, because I got a question for you. I got a question for you later. Yeah, you know, look, you know who the boss. Look. Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask
Hey, Edith, stifle thyself.
Let me ask the Valkyrie a question. Hold on, don't you make me. All right, Valkyrie. Do you believe that the Mandela effect is real? And do you understand why Cowboy Bob does not understand that the Mandela effect affects not only his life, my life, your life, and that female up there's life? Lori over there.
I've seen enough evidence that I believe it is a real effect. But like I said, I remember quite well hearing Mandela died in prison.
Who heard it?
They even had a whole news story on it that I watched. There used to be videos.
I gotta go look up this up.
Videos about the thing. And then all of a sudden, no, he's still alive, and now he is president of, South Africa. And it made no sense to me at the time.
But I learned very young. Okay, that history is not true.
History is the maker.
They make history up to tell you that it happened this way to cover somebody's guilt. Okay. You know, early on, I mean, probably fourth grade, it was the winner writes the history. So every war that was ever fought, okay, the people who won wrote the history book, and it made them look good, even if it wasn't the truth. It made them look good.
What if Nelson did die in prison?
Is put down that way.
Hold on.
You have to look at everything objectively. You can't just accept it on its face value. But if I'm understanding, like I said, I've heard the term. I had no idea what they meant by it. But if what I'm grasping is that the Mandela effect is when people are buying a remanufactured history from what really happened.
What if he did die?
From the Mandela effect. Hell, we're all suffering from the Mandela effect.
Hold on. What if he did die? And what they did was they replaced him with
What if that's not him?
What if they replaced him with a clone?
What if they replaced him with a good lookalike?
I mean,
what if they had surgery and made him look like Mandela?
I gotta share a screen. Hold on, people.
Died and was replaced.
We know he was replaced by something. I don't know what the fuck he was replaced with. There's the picture. Look at young, old, now. Here it is again. Nelson Mandela.
That's really small. It's very hard to see.
Man, you gotta.
Can't you just give us that picture without all this, without your entire screenshot?
You know something?
I'm looking at your computer screen.
I'm trying to share a screen.
It's up in the corner up there.
Mandela or Gibson? Gibson looks like Mandela.
There's no picture there.
Right here. You see my damn mouse?
No. I can see me, and I can see Lori, and I can see
you look on a computer screen.
And a big blue screen with a window in it.
Now look.
There you go.
Oh, you ball-busting mother.
There you go.
All right.
You're supposed to be the technical genius here, right?
There's quite a bit of evidence that
it could be Gibson.
People have been replaced.
Look.
It could be a close facsimile, a cousin who looks a lot like him.
And it has a twin, identical twin that you know nothing about, but somebody else walking in this world looks exactly like you.
That's where I'm coming from.
Absolutely. The poor son of a bitch. I pity the poor son of a bitch.
She redeemed herself.
That's why I say
as Mr. T said, I pity the poor fool.
I pity the poor fool.
A case of propaganda that is being altered because it doesn't suit the agenda anymore.
Well, somebody said that the other day. Somebody said that Biden, and they went further. They were talking about Joe Biden, and they went further with it, and they said actually since the 1940s, since JFK or Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, that after Franklin Delano Roosevelt, no president has ever actually been the president. Now the president is secured away, and a double does most of the public. Yeah,
that sounds conspiracy.
Well, yeah, and that's where they were going. I mean, they were racking off the balls, talking about, well, he's Joe's a clone. Well, the real Joe is in it. The real Joe's on life support somewhere, right? This guy's his clone.
I believe Joe's on life support.
I don't know if you've heard the one Jeffrey Daughtry was talking about a while ago. About the quote, the lion laid down with the lamb. For some reason now says the wolf laid down with the lamb.
Right.
And I can find that. But there's several Bibles that says that it's not, it's the same, the original,
And that's an example of a Mandela effect.
Oh, I got a Mandela effect.
Yeah, see, they changed it to match a new, I love this phrase, the narrative, to match a new narrative. They changed it from the lion to the wolf because I can't subjectively talk to you about lions if you live in Chicago and there are no lions.
Well, hold on.
There are wolves. See, you can go out in the woods, there's wolves.
Well, hold on.
Lions are all the way over on the other side of the world.
But hold on. No, we're lions in the same area where they said the lion would lay down with the lamb, which means, is there a lion on top of the mountain of Mount Sinai?
Well, the whole point is that you're taking a parable.
It's a parable. It's a statement.
And the lion will lay down with the lamb. The lion eats the lamb. It's a natural predator.
It's hungry.
The lamb is its natural prey, but it will lay down with that lamb and not eat it. And the lamb will not be afraid.
All right, I'm showing
myself. Which it should be. Just from the smell of that cat, the lamb should be afraid. But you see, it's a parable saying, and the lion would lay down with the lamb. Okay? I have laid down with a wolf on more than one occasion and in the same damn sleeping bag. And he smelled funky when he was wet. Okay? But it ain't the same thing. I have never laid down with a lion.
Did you say, I love you, Wolfie? Did you say it?
Not in that kind of phrase, but, in my own way,
You're going to be my best friend
I raised hybrid wolves for a while, and they're very interesting creatures.
I was going to buy a hybrid wolf husky.
Terribly maligned. Terribly maligned. They're given a very bad deal. The wolf, the
gets a bad deal, not the wolf.
Is not at all the fairy tale version.
Listen, the fox gets a bad
line. They've been used for centuries.
All right, let's get back to the topic.
To drive people out of the woods and into the cities so that they can be controlled.
And when we couldn't blame it on the wolf anymore, we started blaming it on the Russians.
Oh,
the Russians did everything. Everything that's wrong, everything that you don't like, everything that tastes bad, all came from the Russians. And everything you want that you can't get is because of the Russians.
The Russians did it? They changed my Lamarita into a Mango-rita?
It's all their fault. All your unhappiness in life is because of the Russians.
I promise it was lying.
Not because of the crooked politicians that are stealing the money from your taxes for their own benefit. No. It's not them. It's those Russians. They're doing it. They're the bad players.
You're a bad boy, Bob.
Hey, I hid under my goddamn desk in school. Okay? And there were kids a decade before me that did it. Okay, that was the first thing. One of the first things you learned in kindergarten. And there was an air raid warning in the school, and we all had to collect in the closet stuff to get away from the nuclear bombs.
Hold on,
40 years of
you
being
went
afraid
under
of the Russians.
You went under your desk.
Under the desk. That's what they told me. Curl up in a ball.
Because Russia collapsed.
Yeah, say it, Bob.
Curl up in a ball in a fetal position under your desk.
And that's why 9/11 happened.
Oh, hold on.
And now that we've stopped being scared of 9/11,
we still got the
Russians again.
No. We still got to have the Patriot Act because we got to have the American citizens.
Well, we had to have now. And what Ice is saying is absolutely right. Think about it now. Connect the dots here. Okay, timeline.
Valkyrie got it.
So the Russians fell. Right. The USSR collapsed. Our enemy defeated itself. It was no longer a threat to us. Poor, impoverished Russia.
Poor Russia.
But we needed an enemy.
So now we got China.
How can we drive the economic machine unless we have an enemy, a competitor to build against? That's our incentive, is to build against our competitor.
All right.
In this case, it's to stand against our enemy.
China.
So 9/11 was orchestrated in order to get America to get all pissed off and back up the military-industrial complex that wanted a fucking war because they wanted to build the USS Ronald Reagan and they wanted to test these new planes and and we weren't agreeing with giving them the tax money for this. So they created a scenario that would make us mad enough to want to go attack. And the first dialogue that came out, 5 minutes after those planes flew into that building on the network television circles, okay, they were going, we have to hold the people who did this responsible. We must retaliate. People were still looking at their TV screen trying to figure out what they just saw. And the guy and the commentator is telling them that they need to get pissed off and go kick somebody's ass for this. Because they needed a Pearl Harbor event.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have Russia anymore. They couldn't use that. We wouldn't buy that ploy. Okay, we all watched the wall come down on 6 o'clock news. We know that Russia's no more. Okay, so you need a new enemy, and here's the best part. Okay, love conspiracies. Best part. Okay, there is actual physical evidence. Okay, Osama bin Laden attended United States of America universities, the same universities that the very, very special kids who are the offspring of the robber barons and the politicians go to. If you want to become a general in the Army, okay, or an admiral in the Navy, you will attend these colleges and go along this pathway because this is where those people come from, through this chain. Now, he went there as a Saudi nephew. He was welcomed by the American government, and he did not pay tuition. We covered his expenses, as in the CIA covered his expenses. Now, when the time came and the Russians were invading in Afghanistan, it was also came to understand that there was a great deal of oil there that we didn't know existed prior. It had to do with satellite technology. We now could see it. We knew it. It was there. And we now understood why the Russians wanted Afghanistan. They wanted that oil reserve. So we didn't want to get in a fight with Russia one-on-one because that screws it all up. See, the threat of a war is always better than the actual war is for the economy. So we gave that Saudi prince $5 billion, sent him over to Afghanistan to recruit and train people, sympathizers against Russia, get them organized and put up a military resistance against the Russian invasion of Afghanistan.
Don't tell the truth, Bob.
They did, and they used our weapons to do it. They used our money to pay the troops. See, this is the problem with Afghanistan.
Worked for George Bush Sr.
Yes, absolutely. It was all concocted. And then when they did the World Trade Center, when 9/11, okay, remember the bad guy was somebody hiding in a cave somewhere in Afghanistan.
And got a God.
Okay, he's an Islamic and he's our enemy. Okay, except nobody knew where the guy was.
Can you see?
And to this day, we don't know that he actually died. We know that they say they took him. We know that they removed him to a ship offshore.
Osama bin Laden.
And that he died on the ship offshore.
No, they blasted his ass into the sea.
There is no evidence anywhere that the actual Osama bin Laden died.
Well, we got to find that shark.
Yeah. It's got the DNA trackers in it.
Yeah, it's got DNA trackers. Yeah. That's on bitch.
So see, when you look
at Megalodon, that Megalodon motherfucker.
Now remember, I came from that generation where they were drafting us to go to Vietnam.
Here.
Okay, and I first began my first political inset, stepping into and understanding the world of politics came because of the conversations that older people than I was having with regards to getting drafted in this war and why we're fighting this war. So I started sticking my nose into things and asking questions and learning about it. Okay, and it was all a business economic maneuver. There was oil, massive oil reserves offshore in the Gulf. But the Vietnamese people did not want to let us just come take it.
And there was shale oil that was there, and BP was there in Vietnam. Tell the truth.
British Petroleum.
We were fighting for oil. Now we're fighting for oil again.
And we kept that battle up.
Ukraine.
We kept that battle up until they had drained every last viable drop out of those wells. And when there was no more oil to pump out of those wells, then the Vietnam War ended. Now we will extract. We did not fight. We had conflict, constant conflict. But we never made ground, and they never made ground.
Nope.
If we made ground, we were told to retreat and give it back.
Now, hold on, Bob.
In World War II, it was the marginal line. Okay. In Vietnam, it was the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Right.
Okay. Everything south of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, everything north of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. So we weren't allowed to go up there and mess with them.
No oil.
And if by chance we did end up taking any territory from them, we gave it right back to them.
That sounds so funny.
We pulled the troops and said, give it back to them now.
Yeah, something.
Never mind 100 guys died taking this hill. Give it back. It's on their side of the line.
You know something? How about this? I'm going to give you a little history. If it wasn't for the French, we wouldn't have been able to invade Normandy. They sacrificed themselves for a mere engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
That fucks everybody's head up.
I've heard different stories on that. I'm not sure that's entirely true.
If Germany was not going into France, attacking the French troops.
Oh, we wouldn't have gone on Normandy if Germany had been invaded France.
That's right. And they were heading that way.
That had nothing to do with the French, though. You know, the French don't get credit for that.
I got to give them credit.
The French capitulated. The vast majority of the French population said, "Oh, welcome in, German soldiers. Whatever you want. We won't resist you. We won't fight back."
The French are the nice guys. They welcome everybody.
We don't fight with anybody anymore since World War I. We don't want nothing to do with it. Okay?
we don't love you long time. We love you all time.
I had family that was on Normandy. You know, I had family that was at the Battle of the Rhine. I had family that was at the Battle of the Bulge.
I have family
that was their war. I have a couple of older, younger, but older people that I know that were in Korea.
I wanted to be a member of the
Legion. They were 18 and 19 years old. They were in Korea. They weren't in World War II. You know, they were
my Uncle Elton was in Korea.
World War II, but they were old enough to be in Korea.
My Uncle Elton was in Korea. That was cool. I wish he was in Korea and Vietnam. That man, he was a hard-ass little light bright, damn near medium white.
Well, I wish everybody was with you in Afghanistan. What a lovely experience that would have been.
Oh, yeah, the balls would have been hanging, the dicks would have been swinging, and the brains would have been floating.
Yeah,
because we would have been all pissed
in the puddles of blood.
In the puddles of blood.
You know, I don't wish anybody had ever been in a war. I wish I had never seen the things I had seen.
And that's what I was trying to tell people from the beginning.
I liked being naive. It was fun.
It was nice.
I understood there was an ugly underbelly, but I was naive. The Army changed that very quickly for me.
You know, you don't get this training in boot camp. You can't get war training in boot camp. What they do is give you survival training.
Get terrorized in boot camp.
Yeah, but hold on. It prepares you for the terrorism that you're going to receive when you go on that ground in a foreign land called war.
I don't think anything can.
It does. I'm going to tell you what it does.
I think a child who is raised like right now, if you're in Ukraine.
Oh, these some bitches can't do it.
If you're a child, you know, if you're 12 years old in Ukraine.
Army, we got they can't do that.
Then, you know, you can at 18 you go into the military and service, and you actually have some preparation for the terror that's coming. Besides that, I don't think video games don't make it.
Hold on,
I've
you talking about video
some
games?
Of the best video games out there. You know, Halo,
Should I call his name out?
Stuff.
Let me call his name out. Can I call his name out, Bob?
Go.
You know whose name I want to call out.
Go.
Rocco.
Well, okay.
Okay. Rocco, video games don't pan it, man. If you want to get
first of all, you're not really there.
No, you're not.
And your brain knows that you're not there. So you have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Okay? The subconscious mind controls you. It's your autopilot. It keeps you going even when you're not paying attention. It's why your heart still beats. It's why you take breaths every so many seconds. Okay? Because your subconscious mind is telling your body to do these things. All right? While your conscious mind is screwing around with all kinds of weird stuff. Okay, like trying to get Susie's bra unhooked, okay?
Oh, yeah,
because when you're 14 years old, that's a major undertaking trying to figure that out. Okay, now, so your subconscious brain knows that you're not at real danger. Therefore, it does not react in the same way that it would if you were physically in that battle zone and this was actually happening and those bullets could kill you.
Listen,
those bombs could hurt you.
Got one.
That noise was too loud to hear, and the visions were too ugly to look at. But see, we've tried to desensitize the more modern youth by all of the
you get them overseas.
Vulgarity that goes on in the movies and video games, right?
Man, you get them overseas, and they weak as a bunch of pissy little kids running around.
Well, yeah, because it is different when you can see it, smell it, taste it, and feel it.
Oh man. And listen.
And you can't
get
do
captured.
that in a video game.
Hold on.
You can watch a guy get his head blown off in a video game. That's animatronics, man. Okay? That's not real. Real is when you're talking to a guy sitting in a foxhole and you're looking at him, man, and you just said something to him and you're waiting for him to respond, and suddenly the top half of his head disappears.
How about this? No.
Right? That's real.
That's
and
real.
You're getting splattered, and you can taste it, and you can smell it, and you can see it, and you can feel it, and you know that you're ducking, man, as fast as you can get down.
How about this?
Right? You're going to worry about your friend later.
Let me.
You're going to feel bad about him later. Not
PTSD
now.
kicking in, man. You got to stop.
He's
PTSD,
dead.
stop. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. Please, give me a break for a second. Just for a second. I already had this issue. You already know the show
Time's
I had
up.
it on. Yeah, give me a minute. Give me a second. Whew. Give me a second.
I'm sorry, but the topic irritates me because I listen to these kids talk about things that they in their mind they've experienced it, right? Because they're really, man, I made it to level 35 in this game. That's great. I'm glad. It's not the real thing. Okay? And football on Sunday afternoon in pads against another team of guys in pads is not the same thing as scrimmaging for your life in the bushes,
man, listen,
against a guy who wants to kill you.
Man, let me tell you something. These kids have no fucking goddamn idea.
No,
period.
they don't. They have no concept. And
I don't
being
want a prisoner of war. Being a prisoner of war.
Never did.
Come on, man. I was a prisoner. I was a prisoner. So guess what? You don't know nothing about being a prisoner.
You're a dumbass.
The bottom line is,
if you're a prisoner, then you're a dumbass. You got caught.
No. I was a slayer when I got out. Trust me. But the bottom line is, we got captured. CBs. A quarter of a team. And it was not good.
Somebody blew it.
Somebody blew it, yeah. And I want to know who did, but that's another story. Listen, the bottom line is this. You kids don't understand. I mean, you talk about issues of today's world. Here's an issue. We go back to the beginning. We talk about transgenderism. We made discoveries tonight on transgenderism. We talk about war. We talk about life. We talk about reality. We talk about things that you people out there have really no idea about. You live in a
careful. There are
there's some of us, a small percentage of you people out there know about it. The rest of you ain't no shit. You live in a fucking fantasy.
Well, that's true.
You live in a fucking imaginative world.
They were fed in their
You
defense,
believe that you're king?
fantasy.
No, most of these motherfuckers out there, listen, have you ever met a person that didn't say they were a king or queen in a past life regression?
Well,
how about that motherfucker that was a fucking cleaner?
First of all, I don't buy past life regressions. Hypnosis is a funny thing, but you can tell anybody anything under hypnosis. You've got them psyched out, man. You've got them right here. They will buy anything you want to sell them.
I'm the Queen of Sheba.
Yeah,
so I did a
number of Cleopatras.
Oh, hell yeah, hey, Valkyrie. Valkyrie. No, let Valkyrie talk about this one. Hey, Valkyrie, how many Cleopatras did we have?
First of all,
hold on. I'm going to Valkyrie because I know your mouth wants to run. And now this is your area. You want to hop in.
A whore.
Listen, we got this woman already fired up, but I want to hear Valkyrie first, man. Because, me and you run this shit. All right, Rob. Valkyrie, tell us about how many Cleopatras we got.
I run into somebody who claims to have a past life. It's always somebody famous.
Oh, yeah, always. Hey, have you ever heard of Street Cleaner?
Or Josephine,
shit dropper.
That was never a guy who cleaned pig slop for a living. Yeah, that was.
Whatnot. It's never a guy.
I was a legal expert.
Yeah, raised it. I grew up on a farm somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
I used to be a whore on the street. Hey, I give you $5, dog. You had a good regression.
Hypnosis, and if you've never gone under and been in trance,
been there.
you wouldn't know.
And been there. Been there. Valkyrie's been there, definitely.
But no, with the first regression that I have, no, I was not someone known or popular. I wasn't even in this galactic.
Where were you? Where were you?
Then that gives me a much greater reason to believe you than the 99% of the stories I've heard.
Not even a human species.
Where were you?
So, I was a dragon.
Okay, why can't you been a cockroach? Cockroaches outnumber dragons 10-1.
Because when you go under
10 billion to 1, I'm sorry.
Dealing with your subconscious, it's going to bring forth something that it needs.
It's going to bring forth something that's within you that you always imagined.
So,
did you like Puff?
About being a dragon.
Did you like Puff the Magic Dragon?
I mean,
that I've been.
Did you like Puff?
Here's the problem. I've had some of the best with the best technology try, and they all failed.
They all failed me too.
I could not be hypnotized.
I couldn't either.
The hypnotic
I've been through too much reality to go through what is known as hypnosis.
You have to want to be shut off.
I can't be shut off.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. You've got to want to.
Nobody's ever managed to hypnotize me.
The patient has to be willing to have it done first of all.
And that means you're not fighting.
They have to believe that it can be done and want it done.
But
your higher self grant permission, so you have to go through
your higher self, your subconscious,
for that hypnotherapist to be able to access your subconscious.
I see a topic for next week.
You're scared or you don't grant the permission.
Valkyrie, you know I'm an asshole. I see a badass topic for next week. And we're going to invite some people.
I don't know that much about hypnosis because I've never been hypnotized.
Hypnosis.
Hey, Valkyrie, you're getting hypnotized right now. You're hearing the words of a dragon. Speak, boo-boo, speak.
And I'm a succubus.
I know you're a succubus.
So,
I definitely would tell you drain energy like a motherfucker.
I am the wolf spirit. And if I was in the Odin realm, I would be the Freyan.
But guess what?
Okay. Which by the way is considered a feminine until you read into it real hard.
The true story.
It isn't what is referred to as she isn't really
a she.
Either.
No, it's not a he either.
It was she was not Odin's lover, nor was she the mother of any of the gods.
Nope.
She was a companion of Odin, and actually she was Odin's superior.
True, because she was a witch.
She was there to hold him in control, to keep him in check.
Check. Because Odin would go wild. Shut the fuck up, Robert.
But I am the wolf.
Okay? And I am Odin. And
I was even adopted by the Lakota and given the name Wolf Dancing.
Well, see, you have an interesting story, and I would love to interview you regarding what happened to you when you had that visitation.
I would love to interview you regarding the
I'd like to know what it was.
Wolf.
Because of my age at the
time, let's let Laurie interview you now, Rob.
I assumed that it was a real person, right?
No.
I didn't question that. There was this man who was sitting at my campfire in the middle of the night in the middle of nowhere.
And he was puffing on the magic stick.
And he was just there being quiet.
Yes, he was.
And I woke up and I saw him there, and at first it was fear.
Oh, you had fear? You had a fear of this man?
There's a stranger here, and I'm all alone, right?
Oh, you feared that man?
Okay, and there's this stranger, and I've been told about stranger danger type stuff, right? So there's my first inclination, and then I'm looking at this guy, and he's like out of time.
Mama Neely, I need you.
He's wearing leathers, right? Nothing that looks like it came from a modern store. And he's got long hair, and he's scarred on his face, and and I'm looking at him, and he's like this. He reminds me of a picture out of an old Western movie, of an Indian chief, right? And so now I'm curious, right? And then from that point, the conversation. I would assume
that's right, Bob. I got my mama here now. Mama, say something.
I would assume that I was somehow intoxicated, but I don't know how. maybe memory is etchy here, but maybe we shared some water, or I had a coffee pot and the fire, so maybe we made coffee or something. Maybe I was given something. Very possible. I'm not aware that it happened. What I am aware of is that I had the most outrageous mushrooms, LSD, and peyote all at the same time experience.
Wow.
And it went through space, and it, all of these places were pointed out, and things were said, and then there was kind of a turn of a circle, and then we weren't going through space, we were going through time. And I was seeing these things like very fast, like a super fast slideshow. So much so that today, and for many, many years, I can't actually recall anything. But stuff pops in my head at the right time in the right place. So if I need a reference to something to understand what's happening, suddenly it's like, boing, I have this memory flash, like a movie goes by. And I go, oh, this is that. This is that happening again. This is that cycle reacting, okay? So I recognize it now. I see it. I know how to play this out. I know what's going to happen next.
It's like your own deja vu moments.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's Google, but I don't have a keypad. Right? Alexa comes in when Alexa thinks I need that information. Alexa gives it to me. Okay. Now I have to assume that all of that was then, that time and space. So now there's two ways to look at that. One is I had a very spectacular experience, personal physical experience, out of body experience, if you will. Or to take it to a different vernacular from other people's point of view, I was taken, abducted, whatever, and somebody downloaded an entire
I have been raped by aliens, my name is Doris Neely, and I've been raped by aliens.
So
look at Bob, she's telling a true story. I was raped by the green mantis and the orange dickwads. They were all there. The K5Ks, the Omega Psi Phis, the Zeta Phi Base were partying on the other side, and then, goddamn, the AKAs came in. They saved me. Hold on, it sounds like a goddamn sci-fi drama. Here you go.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Outside of Odin, who doesn't believe in anything that is extraordinary.
Well, and I don't believe in it either, except that I know, that I can't explain some things.
You look pretty,
I have known real, cauldron stirring, broom riding witches in my day.
I am here.
Practicing, they were seriously into it. Okay, it was a religion to them. All right, and they were not Satanists. They were not satanic worshipers by any means. That's Hollywood. These people believed in the alchemy of nature and that they could control certain elements of it. And I saw things that I cannot explain. Okay, I have been with fortune tellers, psychics, people who can, they make a living reading your palm and doing tarot cards and all that crap. Okay. I lived with, worked with, interacted with these people. Okay. And I saw things, witnessed things happen that there is no logical explanation for. They knew things they could not have known.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. They saw what they saw. Now, the human brain, this is one of those things that I got, in that little trip of mine. The human brain is a very interesting tool. It has many, many, many capable potentials, most of which we don't use. Primarily because
we're taught not to use them.
Yeah, it would scare you. The idea that you could do this, would scare you. For most people, they can't let go of material reality, right? They've got to have something physical to hold on to. The idea that you could leave your body and go out and wander around and do things in other dimensions and whatever, it's fun to talk about. But if I actually said you can do that, let me show you. No. I'll stay right where I am. Thank you. Okay. Now that's probably 85% of the human species suffer from that disease. Okay. They're like, no, it's too much for me. I can't handle that.
It might be less now because more people are opening up their minds. They're opening up their minds, they're opening up their hearts, and they're understanding that just this physical skin.
Yeah, but understanding and experiencing, Lori, aren't the same thing. You can understand something that you've never experienced, or you can experience something and now understand it. Okay, there is a difference.
And in the appropriate divine timing, that's when you get your revelation on what you experience. So
Doris,
experience is more like a spirit guide as opposed to an abduction. It was more like a spirit guide that came to you at this particular time in your particular timeline to impart information to you.
It's even more detailed than that. You see, I was specifically at a crossroad in my existence as an 11-year-old runaway out in the middle of Tennessee all by myself, okay? And I was running away from a family I could not live with. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was an orphan. So I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I belonged. I was in serious doubt and denial, trying to find me. And it came to me at just that point in my life to give me okay, this is who you are. This is what you're about. Calm down, settle down, and wait for directions. Stay alive and survive. Now, Doris, I was going to ask you, because of age being a perspective that the younger generations don't have.
Yeah. I might not have it.
How often in the passing of life have you seen and gained understandings of things that were life-altering for you? In other words, you recognized that you had been walking around with blindfolds on, being naive about something, and suddenly here is clear evidence in front of you that proves that you didn't have the right perspective on it.
I got a better way of questioning that one. How about this one, Bob? How many times in life have you walked around, thought one way, and discovered the reality was totally different than your individualized, imaginative thoughts?
Not since I was about 6.
And that's when you had dreams of delirium, think you can fly like Superman, soar to the nearest level like
I imagine doing it.
Yes, we do.
Yes. I imagine a daydream.
It's all psychological, right?
I never for a moment believed
you
that
Superman.
I could be Superman. But I did imagine.
But you did have the cape,
right? Like if I was
Did you have
Superman.
the cape?
See, again, I would say there's a difference there.
Did you wear the cape? Did you put the damn towel over your shoulders?
The towel, yes.
All right, shut the fuck up,
Did
Bob.
I have a bath towel tied around my neck?
Valkyrie, hold on. No, we got to go back to our beginning thought.
In my long johns.
In your long johns too?
We were in Northeast Ohio at that point in my life. So I had long johns.
Don't tell the truth.
To keep warm.
Bob, don't tell the truth. We don't want to hear it, Bob.
And Superman's uniform.
Hold on, did you get the secret decoder ring and the X-ray glasses, Bob?
Was just perfect for a cape, yeah.
All right, Bob. Hold on. Valkyrie, did you think you were Superman when you were growing up?
Wonder Woman?
Shut up.
Wonder Woman's more often. Yes.
Bob. Be quiet, because I need your mouth shut. Did you think you were Green Lantern? Robin?
I didn't ever imagine myself as any of the male superheroes.
Okay, now you're a true
you are a
true transgender. No, you are a true transgender. See, I found out if I ask a person a simple question, do you think you're a Superman? Green Lantern? Lori, why don't you ask your friends that? Let's see what the answers will be. Don't lead them. Don't you lead them like Bob just did and say Wonder Woman. That's full of shit, Bob. You fucked up. You fucked up. You trying to make jokes. Fuck you, John. Hey, fuck you, homie. Fuck you, homie. Hold on. Let me get the camera. Fuck are you?
Supergirl, yeah.
Listen.
I was only
are here. We're the tag team terrorists of the network. That's it. When we get together, we're killing you all. All right, back to the point.
Stifle yourself. Lori, you didn't answer the question.
Lori.
Did you imagine yourself a superhero when you were a little girl? Did you play superhero?
Anything in comics. Anything in comics.
I collected comics, but
watch this.
If I myself as anything, I was Wolverine.
Okay, so you got some man in you. So you need to go ahead and get the transgender shit taken care of, and tell them to pull that joint out.
If I was that badass, then none of these people would scare me.
Now, see, they didn't have Wolvie Girl, man.
Tell me what I can't do.
They didn't have Wolvie Girl. Hey, yo, we almost at the end of the show. We got Reverend Ed popping in less than 20 seconds.
And I
thought he was taking a day off.
No, he's slapping you around, Bob.
From Marvel Comics, I probably thought of myself as most often.
Hey, ask Reverend Ed, Bob. Ask Reverend Ed. See what he was.
Oh, okay. Hey, Ed. Hi, Ed.
Hey.
How you doing? Hey, I just had my 14th surgery.
What?
Do you want one of my blankets? Oh. Sorry, I watch too much TV. Commercials really blow my mind. Hey, so we were talking.
Watch it.
When you were a little kid. I'm talking little kid now, probably before kindergarten. Okay? Did you run around the house pretending to be a superhero? If so, whom? If you say Jesus, I'm gonna die right here.
Bob, you're leading again. You are leading, Bob. Bob, you lead this thing right there. You want to ask the question and let the person answer. Stop leading, Bob. Reverend Ed, when you were a kid, you were a superhero. Which superhero was it? Which one do you run around the house thinking you were?
Jesus.
No.
See, Bob, you messed up, bro. You totally messed up on that one. You know that, Bob.
No, come on.
Bob. I was trying to walk on water in the bathtub. What can I say?
Oh, geez, Bob. Bob, you listen, Bob. You need to learn to shut up.
You weren't the spaceman, Flash Gordon, or Buck Rogers, or one of those?
I'm not that old. No, I was Superman.
Oh!
Yeah, I mean, everybody my age was pretty much into Superman, and until you actually ran into the door jam and realized you were not invulnerable.
Okay, you sure was Superman?
And then you didn't play Superman anymore, right?
Well, when I jumped off the bed and landed on the floor really hard.
Yeah, my cousin tried to run through the living room wall.
Oh, I tried to fly, so I ain't gonna lie.
Didn't make it. Ended up in the emergency room. But he tried to run through the living room wall.
At 2 years old. I know what time. Those headboards are hard, man.
So, well, I guess it's time for me to duck out of here.
In the magic types, you know, the spellcasters.
Kazam!
Oh yeah, one of my as an older kid. One of my favorite characters was Doctor Strange.
Doctor Who?
Doctor Strange, not Doctor Who.
Strange.
Doctor Who just stole somebody's phone booth and rode around town.
The one I can remember from like my earliest days was the old House of Dracula.
Oh yeah.
Dracula's daughter, I think her name was Lola.
Lola.
I can remember. I thought she was like one of my favorites when I was a kid. And then later on it was, you know, I got into Wonder Woman and Supergirl and Zatanna and...
okay, you're true.
All of which were very sexy, by the way. They were all very sexy women.
Bob, you missed the point. But Bob, you missed the point. Valkyrie she's giving you all the female superheroes. No males.
I understand, and I said, and
so
it's
you know that's a true
interesting, and all of
transgender.
them were also gorgeous.
Yes.
Examples of womanhood, right?
I'm also a pinup artist, Mom. I draw gorgeous girls.
Oh, you did pinup? Oh, you did pinup girls? Oh my God!
Yes, I've been a pinup artist.
Oh my God, I love pinup girls. The old school pinups were beautiful. Today's pinup girls are
we gotta cut this. This is Ed's
we gotta
time.
go. Reverend Ed starting up next. I got to set
Thank
the server
you.
up for him.
Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening or watching the Return of the Thinking Man. It's not me. I'm not the thinking man.
No, you're
not. It's about you. It's you being the thinking man. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to catch you again the next time around. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. And remember, play nice with one another. Thank you, Odin.
Nice.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Valkyrie Ice McGee. And welcome on board, Reverend Ed. I will bow out and give you your show.
And I've been playing nice all my